Okay, welcome back. We are back with Rebel Fury from GMT, Mark Herman Design. Playing Wilderness, we're up to the third turn, which is May the 6th a.m. With Grant and Lee locked in the Wilderness, trying to get the better of each other. So here's where we're at. Confederates are going to get a bunch of reinforcements here. Basically, the first corps is coming in. They'll come in a little bit later. There's a few blown units here for the Union that are coming back in this turn. But the fronts here in the battle look like this. We've got Lee pushing up towards Wilderness Church, holding along the Orange Turnpike, also holding Parker's Store, which is a key juncture. I think that is probably key to this whole scenario for both Grant and Lee to pivot and attack. Also holds down here where Grant has pushed around some forces, mainly cavalry, down to the south to try to go down to get the strategic victory here on the Cathairpen Road down over here. So we've got that situation brewing up here. Confederates are going to get some more reinforcements. Union still has some streaming in here from the north, and we'll see what happens. I think the Confederates strategy the Confederates will take is they're going to try to push up, kind of cross over the Germana Plank Road, force the Union Grant's troops to stay north so they don't go down here to attack Parker Store or try to get around to the southeast over on this side. Grant, on the other hand, get those reinforcements down here, attack here to keep Lee from pushing on here. Come down here, potentially attack Parker's Store now that the cavalry has been pushed out from the last turn. If you missed that, check out the prior video on this in the playlist. And then try to push down and establish that line down to the Victory Hex over here. So that's kind of the strategy. Let's get to it and see how the turn goes. So first off, May 6th turn. All right, Lee is going to get the initiative automatically because he has 2 battle stars showing. Grant is in maneuver mode, so he doesn't have any battle stars, so it's automatic to Lee. We're going to check on the redeployment here. Lee is going to need to roll for his redeployment, and just to remember on that is that when you have a leader in battle mode, he's got to check to see if he's removed this turn or not. Now he'll have a +2 for his battle stars. He rolls a 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. That's greater than 5, so he's going to get removed and be able to be placed however he wants in the next phase. So he comes off, Grant comes off, and now Lee's going to be placed again. He's going to be placed down here. He's going to go back into maneuver mode, and I think he stays right there. Yep, he does. Grant, on the other hand, is going to stay roughly about there. He thinks that's good because he can cover the whole area where his troops are and get them moving here. So may not have a lot of battling, may have battling. We'll see, but we're in maneuver mode, so there won't be any battle stars associated with that. So it's all going to be just straight combat when it happens. Okay, detachment phase. Lee is going to place Rosser down here, kind of blocking the road. I know it's just a speed bump, but it's better than nothing. Recall phase. Grant's not going to recall his detachment for the moment. He's in good location. And then we're going to come to formation determination. This is where we can flip over units that are not in zones of control or zones of influence. So there's quite a few here for both Union and Confederate that will get flipped over here and here. And now we get to the blown units phase. That's where now we're going to have Wadsworth and Barlow come in and sit right there next to Grant. Disengagement phase. This is where units can retreat. Lee first. Lee's not going to do anything. Grant is going to not do anything as well. So we're on to the move phase. So in the movement, Lee is going to be first. So first off, we're going to have Heath moving up the Orange Turnpike, try to provide a little bit more blockage. And that's going to get Grant to respond. Heath moving up as well. And some more response there. We also have reinforcements coming in here. I forgot to put them over on there at the beginning of the turn, but you'll see them show up here very shortly as I move them on. There we go. They go on there and there. So we're going to have Anderson, the third corps, Anderson, move up for the next one. Get some reinforcements to the south. And now Barlow's going to move up. Try to get into position to lock in Heath. Maybe some attacking there. Anderson comes all the way up. And now we've got Gibbon moving up to lock in, to go against Heath. Really trying to push against the road to get down to the store. That, as I said, is key because those crossroads point in direction down to the Orange Plank Road as well as down to the Cathairpen Road. And now we've got a few more moves here moving towards the center. Here comes Rhodes to try to get up in there as well. And now Anderson's units come up. Now we've got Ricketts back up to the north. Grant wants him to move down into a little bit more defensive position. We've got Early moving up. We've got Robinson swinging down to try to fill in that gap. Now we do have Wadsworth and Birney over here, as well as Barlow to help out. They'll come later. Ricketts moves up to defend against Johnson's advance. Here comes Early to support that. And now we're going to get some Union response over there. Here comes Early swinging around Johnson. And now, most likely, this Early down here is going to go up into that gap eventually. Union is trying to position to keep that flank and keep the Confederates out of their right flank, because if the Confederates get around and up the road, they potentially could go after this bridge up here, which is one of their strategic victory conditions. So that's why they're doing that. Now we're going to have Fields reinforcement coming in. That's the First Corps. And now here comes Grant moving some of his reinforcements. There comes Early moving up to create a little salient over there, just to the left of the Orange Turnpike. And a little bit of checking of the command range there. Walker moves up. Wilcox moves up into a nice defensive position there to keep Gregg from either going up the road or down towards the strategic victory location down there. And then we got a little bit more movement by the reinforcements. That's the 9th Corps under Burnside. And now here comes Anderson B. And a little bit more movement down here. And now Hampton is swinging over, way over to the left, to see if he can work his way over there. Now he's got Tobert is over here to counter him. So there is somebody to counter him over there, but he's going to try to make his move for that pontoon hex. So now here comes Wilcox. No, he's going to go the other way. Sorry, he moves the other way. And now we've got Wilcox for the Confederates moving there, moving down to support his other half. Reinforcements kind of moving here on both sides, trying to get position. Field moving up some of his reinforcements. All right. And the Union moving up. So we've got a big solid line here in the middle. Grant has the numbers, of course, and he can certainly provide a long rank of units to press the attack, but it's very defensible terrain, so it's going to be tough on the attack. Some of the Union reinforcements moving down Here comes rest of Wilcox moving up, and Field, and now Field is moving over to help support Hampton's turning of the flank. And now Tobert comes down, seeing that. He moves out to potentially lock in Hampton's cavalry there. And Field moves up. Tobert continues to move down. And here comes Field C up to support. And Stevenson's units from the 9th Corps have come down to replace Tobert going after Hampton's cavalry. And we've got a little bit more movement. Here comes the rest of Stevenson's units over there. Here comes Kershaw. He goes into the center over towards Parker's store. And then now the action flips back over to the area around Cat Hairpin Road and Run, where Potter of the 12th Corps, or the 9th Corps, excuse me, moves up, threatening. And here comes his second half of his units, and they deploy. Here comes Kershaw over, kind of providing a little bit of reserve with Anderson. Anderson's now moving over a little bit to try to turn Barlow's flank and potentially threaten over there. And Barlow B is coming down. Anderson B is coming up. Kershaw moves over to Parker's store. Barlow B moves up. So now there's a strong position over here. But if you notice, and I noticed this later, that Barlow A is in a bad position because he's trapped right now because of the zones of control in here. So if there's any type of retreat, he's going to be in trouble. And now here comes the last of Kershaw. Here comes Potter B moving down, and Anderson B moving up. A little bit more positioning. He's going to go after, Potter B is going to go after the detachment over here and try to get in and capture this. Now, they'll still have to open up the road, but at least they'll have both ends. Gregg moves over as a blocking because you can see Wilcox B slid over here. And this locks them in so they can't come down and try to push off Potter from attacking the detachment. It may be a sacrifice for Gregg because he could be potentially attacked, but they will have defensible terrain going across the creek. All right, we got a few more movements up here with Kershaw coming up, Robinson moving down. Quite a line now is established all the way up from the ford, all down here to the unfinished railroad just above Parker's store. Very similar to the situation, the real situation there. Now, we just had Lee pass. So Lee passes for the turn, which means Grant's going to get a few more moves. He rolls a 6, 6 plus 5. He has 5 units left that are still on their maneuver side. So he gets 11 for Grant. So now we're going to move the rest of these guys for Grant. So it's just exclusively Grant's moves. And let's see, what do we have here? Right. I thought Grant moved up more from there, but I guess not. So he actually stopped right there. So we move on to the attack phase. So Lee's going to start this off with Field attacking Tobert up here. Going to go after that cavalry to try to open up a little bit of space there back towards Hampton's cavalry, who are moving up towards the pontoon bridge. So Lee attacks first. Field, he's going to have an attack factor of 9 to start, and the Tobert's cavalry is just going to have a base of 4. Rolls a 7 versus a 0, which is going to be a Didn't I put it on here? No, I did. It's going to be basically an SA versus a D, which is going to have the cavalry unit blown. Oh, there it is. SAD, defender is blown. So he has to retreat off of there. Now he won't advance in there because he was next door to it. Now, I probably should have done it the other way, but I did it this way because Field has a 2-star troop quality, and I wanted to take advantage of that. So, but that opens it up quite a bit here for them, with that. Next is going to come Grant's attacks, and he's going to start over here with Griffin B going against Johnson. The reason why he wants to do this is because Johnson has a zone of influence over Wilderness Church, and he wants to try to push them back. So let's see what happens with this. So Griffin is going to be a 7 for an attack factor, and Johnson's going to be a 5 for defense. He's in the open, and probably should have thought about getting him building field works to try to improve his position, but oh well, didn't happen. So let's see, Griffin rolls a 7, and Johnson rolls a 3. That's going to be an SA. D, defender is blown, so Johnson is going to be put to the blown track, and Griffin moves into that hex. So they've eliminated there, and that's actually pretty big because that's opened up a little bit of a hole here in the center that Grant could exploit over here. We do have Field B down here, and he's a pretty good unit, but we'll have to see how it goes because Grant's got some issues up here to the northwest in terms of the Hampton's cavalry and the breakthrough over there, cutting off his supply line up there. So going on next, Wilcox is going to try to go against Gregg's cavalry down here. And Wilcox B is going to be an attack of 7. Gregg's cavalry is going to be defense of 4. It's a 4 versus a 5. That's an advantage. Defenders retreat with a blown check, and Wilcox is blown. So he actually is eliminated. Gregg holds out and actually puts them in a good position now. Not so much on the attack, but just positioning-wise of the units. And if Potter can attack Rosser, he could potentially get in a nice position to at least get this end of the victory location. Still have to get the in-between of the roads. So now that's what we're going to go to. We're going to try Potter going after the detachment. So this is going to be a strength point of 8. With everything said and done. And Rosser is going to be defense point of 4. So 8 to 4. They roll Potter rolls a 5. The detachment rolls a 6. So it's an A to A. So the attackers retreat with a blown check. And they are blown. So Potter B fails, and he is actually removed. So the situation to the south kind of stabilized as both sides take hits in both of their attacks. Next, we'll move along to Barlow B. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. That should have been, let's see, Potter. And then we've got Barlow B up here. Yeah, it should have been Confederate attack. And I think at this point, Lee had passed, but I'm not sure. But anyways, we'll just keep going along with this and see. So this is going to be Barlow B attacking Anderson A. He's going to be 8, strength point of 8. Anderson is going to be a strength point of 10. And they roll a 5 and a 1. So it's an AD. So the defender retreats. So Anderson has to retreat. And a blown check. And it's just a retreat. So we can go back to there. Yeah, Lee had passed before. I just hadn't typed it in there. That's why Grant went. So now Grant has 4 attacks. He already did the first one there. Or he had 5, and then he just did the first one. So now he has 4. So now Bernie is going to attack over here with Heath. Now, one thing I just want to point out with that, why didn't I attack up here with, say, Johnson and things like that? Because running the numbers on this didn't make it very advantageous for them to attack. They're better off defending because they still have Johnson up here who's influencing this hex right here. So the Union can't get units across here. They're going to have to force them to attack, and it's not going to be too easy for the Union to do that. Now they can try to turn the flanks over here a little bit, and not so much to the west over here, but at least down here they could potentially turn the flanks. But right now we're going to concentrate back on the center, trying to go after Parker's Crossroads. We've got Bernie going into the attack, and they will be a strength point of 8 versus a defensive strength point of 8. So it's going to be a 4 to a 2. That's going to be an AD, so attacker advantage to the attackers and disadvantage to the defenders. So there's retreat. And in this case, he has no possible retreat because that's a zone of control. By showing you here, that's a zone of control here, and this guy has a zone of control as well, so he can't retreat. So he's stuck, and he's going to be blown. Eventually will become eliminated because this is the second to last turn, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So he's going to be to the blown marker, and here comes Bernie. And now we're going to get Wadsworth trying to attack up here. So he's going to be 7 with the defender of 8. They roll a 1, which is not good for the attack, and a 7 for the defense. So that's going to be, oops. I think that's an automatic blown for the attacker. I didn't write it down here. There we go. It's actually a D, a disadvantage, and a significant advantage for the defender. Attacker blown. All right. So Grant ends the attacks there. All right. And that basically ends the turn. Now, the blown units, let's actually back up here for a second. The blown units for the Union, or for the Confederates, sorry, they can't go on the turn track because that would be 2 turns ahead. Well, we're already into this turn right here at the May 6th a.m. turn, and 2 turns ahead is end of the game. It's not even there. So they're going to be eliminated. So as we go forward, you'll see they go away, and then the same thing for the Union is going to have the same elimination over here, 1, 2, 3. So in our eliminated units, we've got 3 Union units, 3 Confederate units. So basically tied in terms of unit losses for the immediate moment. Okay. Strategically, Confederates are knocking at the door at their strategic victory. Union had a chance. They got pushed back here, so it's a little bit tougher. Plus, they need to get down this road, which is Orange Plank Road, yeah. So they've got to get down the Plank Road, break through here, and break through here, which is going to be kind of a tall order for one more turn, because now we're going to be into the final turn of the game, turn 4, end of May, May 6th p.m. turn. So it's going to be interesting here. Probably going to come down to unit loss. May ultimately get to strategic loss, but now Grant has to think about this over here and what's happened and his potential loss of a supply line over in here, which is exactly what Grant wanted, or Lee wanted to do, was to throw him off balance so he couldn't get around and hopefully preserve his army to fight another day. Now, we do have, with that next turn, one more thing to point out here. You notice there are some blown units for the next turn that will come back. We've got one for the Confederates. That will be, who's out there? Fitzhugh Lee's cavalry. and then 3 for the Union. Now, one thing that's going to be tricky about this is that when the blown units come back, only 2 of them can come back on. The third one will be eliminated, chosen by the Confederate. So most likely Bernie B will be a loss, which will leave Wilson and Griffin to come back on for the Confederates, for the Union on the next turn. So pretty interesting situation. It's still knotted up here. Nothing's a given with anything, but it's definitely shaping up that Grant is in for a fight and Lee is giving it to him for this particular battle. So hopefully you're enjoying this, and I thank you for watching. And please like, subscribe, comment. I'd like to see the comments on this. I think this is, I'm having a great time with this. The whole strategic picture here is wonderful. The grand strategic picture here is wonderful. Trying to figure that out and then just let the units go at it makes it really interesting. Tough to figure out what I want to do on each side each time because the situation gets a little fluid, as well as the units can move fairly well, but the whole zone of control and the zone of influence really restricts the units in terms of what they can do. Even though they can do these sweeping maneuvers around, it's still limited, and the victory conditions limited even more. That even though I've got around Lee's right flank over here, with units, it doesn't guarantee me a victory because Grant needs to establish a road network back up this way to be within the 35 hexes between here and his supply base. So it's going to be a little bit challenging in these next couple turns. So again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you on the next one.